Hi gorgeous, and welcome to today's video. In this video, I share with you what I ate to lose 30 kilos in 6 months. Now this is a fun one, and don't forget to stay tuned till the end where I have something super special for you that you don't want to miss. Hi, if you're new here, my name's Ashanthi. I'm a transformational health and fitness coach for women over 40. This is the place to find simple and effective ways to look and feel great in your body every single day, and especially over 40. If you like what you see, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. I post new videos every week, so stay tuned. Okay lady, enough chit chatting. I want to show you exactly what I did, what I ate in order to lose 30 kilos in 6 months. Now let's get into the video. Okay, so before we even get to talk about all the yummy food, I want to talk to you a little bit about the style of eating that I used back then in order to lose 30 kilos over 6 months, because we don't do diets here. Instead, we focus on making smarter choices. So just a little disclaimer, I'm a holistic health coach and personal trainer, but I wasn't a holistic health coach and personal trainer 8 years ago. So at the time, I didn't know as much as I know now. And when faced with losing 30 kilos and having a newborn, it was a little bit of a challenge. Now, if you haven't watched the first video in this series, which goes through the tips that I used and that I still use today in order to lose the 30 kilos, I'll put the link in the description. I would highly encourage you to go check that video. But to keep a long story short, when it came to what to eat, I just needed to make it simple. At the time, I was a new mum with a newborn, and I'd also lost my dad to cancer. So it was a very challenging time for me mentally and physically. So adding a further element of stress was not going to make it easier for me. So here's how I did it, with macro-based meals. Now, if you're looking at me weirdly and you're like, what are you talking about? What is macro-based meals? Let me explain. Okay, so this brings me to my number one tip, knowing what your macros are. When it comes to macros, basically macros are macronutrients that your body needs in large quantities. So these being protein, carbohydrates, and fats. So these are nutrients that your body needs on a daily basis. Now at this point you might be thinking, well, okay, but what kind of protein, carbohydrates, and fats do I need in order to help me lose weight and keep it off? Great question. When it comes to selecting sources of proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, you want to make sure that you are selecting foods that you like to eat in those categories. So for protein, I would select lean meats. So that would be chicken or lean mince. Also things like tofu, beans, also seafood like shrimp and tuna, and white fish. When it came to carbohydrates, I just tried to keep it to sweet potatoes, gluten-free wraps, rice, quinoa. Also, fruits and vegetables do fall into this category, so I made sure that I had a wide variety of fruits and vegetables in order to keep things spicy when it comes to a colorful plate. Now, fats were basically nuts and seeds, nut butters, olive oil, coconut oil, extra virgin olive oil. So some things that I could also easily get my hands on and I could add to meals. So having a handful of my go-to protein sources, carbohydrate sources, and fat sources just made it easy for me to throw things together and make a balanced meal when it came to breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So that brings me to my third point, which is to batch cook your proteins and carbs. And the reason why that's really important is because when you're busy, you're tired, you're stressed, you tend to reach for options that are maybe not so healthy for you. But if you can batch cook, basically that means that you've got a healthy protein source and a healthy carb source, and you can fill the gaps in with some fruits and veggies and nuts and seeds. Now, my number 4 tip involved making as many one-pot meals. So for me, that was stir fries, soups, and one pan kind of bake in the oven kind of dishes. That way I knew that I could easily just cook a big batch, have what I needed to have for myself and my family, and either have it the next day or put it in the freezer and have it sometime during the week or the following week. That way I wasn't stuck for a meal, I wasn't reaching for unhealthy foods, and I knew that I could easily just grab something when I needed it. So you'd find me making like chicken soup or salmon with vegetables, or like a Chinese chicken stir fry or tofu stir fry. Just some things that are really simple and easy, can satisfy your food cravings. Like, everybody loves food, and sometimes we feel like certain cuisines. So having these one-pot meals were really, really easy for me to kind of get those flavors in my mouth. So my number 5 tip is to have like a standard rotation of meals. So what that means is that once you get into the routine of batch cooking or batch prepping, you know what you like, you know what you don't like, and how things are kind of working for you with your schedule. So for me, I would have 3 go-to breakfasts, pretty much 2 to 3 lunches, and about 3 or 4 dinners that I did on the regular. And these I could do without even thinking about it. And I knew that they were healthy and good for me because I did create the macro-based meals. So they had a protein source, carbohydrate, and fat source. And I would add more greens, I would add more vegetables to lunch and dinner. And for breakfast, it was basically smoothies with some fruit, with some protein powder, with some nuts and seeds in there, and a plant-based milk, for example, or water, and maybe some spinach or celery. And I felt like really great after having those easy to digest meals in the morning, and so quick and easy to prepare. For lunch, it was basically a salad, and I might have prepped some sweet potato or roasted vegetables the night before, thrown that in my salad, added like a bed of greens, nuts and seeds, and then can of tuna, or maybe some pre-cooked chicken that I'd already made as part of my food prep. And dinner was basically those stir fries, those one-pot meals, the soups, whatever I had in the freezer or whatever I could quickly make based on my protein, carbs, and fats that I had at the time. I always made sure that I had those simple macros in my fridge or pantry so I could throw things together quite easily. And when it came to snacks, it was really easy, like berries and nuts. And for a savory option, I would choose something like dips, a hummus dip or a guacamole dip with some carrots or capsicum, cucumber, things that I could crunch on. I love crunchy things, so it was really nice to have an easy dip that I could go to. I'd portion it out, and then I would just snack on it. Now, in order to help you find some balance when it comes to your meals, your macro-based meals, I've provided you with a free resource which I've come up with. The link is in the description below. It's basically my top 10 tips for eating healthy and ditching the dieting and finding food freedom. Now, the beauty of this is that it comes with 4 meal plans. So even if you're vegetarian, vegan, omnivore, or grain-free, you've got an option there, and it takes you through a sample week of what you can eat. Now, I want to just emphasize that this is my personal experience with losing weight and keeping it off, and that happened 8 years ago. Like I said before, my level of education and knowledge is so much greater now, but these tips that I share with you as part of this series are really foundational to creating a healthy body and a healthy mindset around food. Food is not the enemy, carbs are not the enemy, fat is not the enemy. Really what we need to do is find better options that satisfy our flavor palettes and the types of things we like to eat. If you are looking to lose weight, get fitter, and feel more fabulous in your body over 40, this is the place to be. Don't forget to check the link in bio for that free resource down below, and also my other links, which are also helpful to get you back on your feet when it comes to looking and feeling amazing in your body over 40. And stay tuned for my next video in this series where I talk to you about my top fitness tips in order to help me lose 30 kilos in 6 months and keep it off. I can't wait to show you that one, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.